All right, let's get into it. Today, we're taking a look at the foundational blueprints of traditional social structures across Asia. Now, it's a huge and incredibly diverse continent, so you should think of these as common threads, not some single one-size-fits-all pattern. We're going to explore the unwritten rules that have guided societies for centuries, and then we'll dive into the major renovations happening right now as modern forces start to reshape that ancient design. So, let's start with a core question, one that really gets to the heart of this whole topic. In the grand scheme of things, what's more important, what an individual wants or what the group needs to stay stable? Your answer to that tells you a whole lot about the social blueprint you're living by. So, the first big piece of this traditional blueprint is a principle that has shaped, well, everything from family life to business meetings. It's the idea of putting the group first. This concept has a name: collectivism. And here's what that really means. In a collectivist framework, you're a member of a family, a community, or a company first, and you're an individual second. So think about it like this. A big career choice isn't just about your dream job. It's about how that choice reflects on and supports your family. Your personal ambitions are always seen through the lens of the group. So how does this actually play out day to day? Well, it creates some really powerful social norms. The number one goal is almost always to maintain harmony, to keep things running smoothly, avoid conflict. And a massive part of that is avoiding something called losing face. And this isn't just about you feeling a little embarrassed. It's about bringing shame or dishonor to your entire group. Your actions are never just about you. Okay, so let's move to the second pillar of this blueprint and see how this all connects. If everyone's part of a group, how do you maintain order? Well, the answer lies in a very clearly defined system of hierarchy and respect. This quote right here gets to the heart of a core concept: filial piety. And this goes way beyond just being polite to your parents. It's a deeply rooted tradition where respect, obedience, and taking care of your elders, that's the very bedrock of the social order. It sets up a clear chain of who defers to whom and who's responsible for who. In a lot of traditional East Asian societies, which were heavily influenced by Confucian thought, you can pretty much picture the social structure as a ladder. Everybody knows what rung they're on, and that helps keep things stable. At the very top, you've got elders and even ancestors, then parents. Below that, your spot on the ladder might be determined by your job, how old you are compared to others, and, historically, your gender. Knowing your place wasn't seen as a bad thing, it was seen as absolutely essential for a harmonious society. All right, the third part of our blueprint digs into how spiritual beliefs and family lineage have, for centuries, carved out the social landscape. They've really defined roles and power structures for generations. Now, depending on where you are in Asia, this looks very different. For instance, in South Asia, historical caste systems meant you were born into a specific social group, and that was that. Over in parts of West Asia, religious texts have often served as the direct framework for social laws, especially when it comes to family life. But in both cases, you have these powerful belief systems creating very clear social boundaries. And woven into many of these traditions is what's called a patrilineal system. It's pretty simple. It just means that the important stuff, like the family name, property, social power, it's all historically been passed down from father to son. And this, of course, naturally placed men at the top of the social and family hierarchy. Okay, so we've looked at the traditional blueprint. It's group-focused, it's hierarchical, and often it's patrilineal. But, structures get renovated. So now let's talk about the powerful forces of modernization that are literally redrawing these old plans as we speak. The first, and probably the biggest shift, is all about focus. That old emphasis on the collective, the family, the village, is increasingly giving way to a new focus on the individual, especially their personal career, their ambitions, and their own achievements. And this also changes where authority comes from. I mean, respect for elders is still a big deal, but that unquestioned authority that came just from being older, that's being challenged. In its place, modern authority is more and more coming from merit, from what you've actually accomplished and what you know because of your education. This summary table here really lays it all out perfectly. You can see it plain as day. The focus shifts from the group to the individual. Authority moves from age to merit. That strict hierarchy starts to flatten out and become more about equality. And a huge driver for all of this, as you can see at the bottom, is the massive move from rural village life to big urban city life, which just naturally breaks down those old social bonds. So, what's a key engine driving this whole renovation? I mean, what's the one force that's most directly challenging that ancient patrilineal blueprint we just talked about? Well, a primary driver is the push for equality, and it's being specifically fueled by women gaining more economic power. As women become more educated, more financially independent, that traditional model, where power and property are passed down only through the male line, is facing one of its biggest challenges in, well, in centuries. And all of this leaves us with a final thought. We've seen the old blueprint and we've seen the current renovation, but this whole process is far from over. As these ancient traditions keep blending with modern values, what kinds of societies are going to emerge? What new blueprints will we and the generations after us design to live by? It's a pretty fascinating question to think about.